Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Education USA presentation. My name is Vinny Flores, and I'm one of the education advisors here at the office at the Fulbright Building in Mappo, Seoul. And I'm going to stop talking now and hand it over to our presenters who have come from the United States to be with us. So welcome to everyone who is here in the building, listening live online, and those of you who are watching because you're watching on YouTube because you're too busy to come in. But welcome to all of you, and without further ado.
I can start off. Hello everyone. 안녕하세요. 반가워요. My name is Luis Cardenas and I'm with Metropolitan College of New York in Manhattan in New York City, and I'm very, very happy to be here. And first we're just all going to briefly introduce ourselves before we start our presentation shortly.
Aloha, my name is Jennifer Brooke and I'm here from Hawaii Pacific University in beautiful Honolulu, Hawaii.
Hi everybody, my name is Mickey Pua. I'm affiliated with Calvin College. It's in near Grand Rapids, Michigan. Thanks.
Good evening, my name is Christy Marchesani and I represent the University of Northern Iowa in Cedar Falls, Iowa.
Hello, 안녕하세요. My name is Dwayne Zamora. I'm from Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles, California.
All right, everybody. Oh, does anybody here need translations? No? Don't be shy. I do sometimes. All right. Okay. So basically, we're going to cover some key topics that we were asked to present today. One of them is trying to find the right fit. Obviously, there's almost over 4,000 schools in the U.S., so it's kind of hard to try to find the best option for you. Other things that we'll talk about are some funding or scholarship opportunities, what schools are looking for, and then we'll have some time to talk a little bit about our institutions and leave you some time for some questions and answers from us. All right, so these are basically I'm going to talk about some tips in trying to find the right fit. One of the first things that you should do is evaluate your academic profile. That will absolutely help you narrow down the choices of schools that may be best suited for you. Looking at things like grades, your test scores, either SAT, TOEFL, IELTS, other extracurricular activities, things like that are going to narrow down that pool of institutions. Other things you need to consider are how are you going to pay for schooling. Obviously in the US, schools range from anywhere $10,000 all the way up to 60 plus thousands of dollars per year. So having that conversation with your loved ones to see what is going to be financially a tangible choice for you. And where are you getting your support from? From loans? Are you applying for government scholarships, external funding opportunities, merit awards, financial need? Each school is going to offer different things. All right. Another thing you want to look at is location. Do you want a small school, a large school? Do you want something near a city, in the city, in the countryside? The wonderful thing about the U.S. is that there's going to be an institution that's located in any geographic region or climate that you want. And I tell students that there are some students that don't want any cold weather because they're either live in a cold weather climate or they just want sunny weather all year round. Well, there are some places that do get lots of sunny weather all year round, but most of the time you're going to get varied temperatures throughout the state. And in many areas, you're going to get all 4 seasons. In terms of size, there are schools as small as 500 students, and there are schools as large as 50,000 students. So you need to find where are you going to thrive best, at a smaller institution, somewhere in the middle, or at a large at a large institution. Other things are majors. Obviously, it's funny because we talk to so many students, and a lot of times they apply for schools that don't even have the program that they actually are interested in. They only apply to the school because of the name or the ranking or the brand, but then after they apply, they never even investigated to see if they had the program that they even wanted. Obviously, that's one of the top things you need to do in order to narrow down your choice. Things like athletics. Are you going to want to play sports in school, and at what division? Do you just want to play for recreational purposes? Are you wanting to compete at the collegiate level? Are you looking for scholarships in terms of sports? Facilities. There's some programs, if you're interested in genetics or engineering or the biological sciences, then you might want to see if that institution is well known for that area or might have the facilities that would help you in future research opportunities, things like that, internships within the school, and special programs, kind of similar to facilities, and then campus life. How involved do you want to get in your school? Do you want to join a school that offers 100 clubs and organizations or more, or do you just want a school that maybe offers a couple things because you don't necessarily need as many activities to keep you entertained? Oh, sorry. All right. And then in the U.S., there are different types of institutions. There's public schools, there are private schools, there are large research universities or flagship institutions, as we call them in the U.S. There are community colleges, 2-year institutions, technical schools that really specialize in 1 or 2 fields of study. All right, and then I think this is are you on? Or, all right. Okay, and then lastly, in terms of finding your own fit, you want to use the resources here, Education USA, the Fulbright Commission, your school counselors and teachers, college websites. Contact us. Not every school is going to fly counselors over to come and meet you, but hopefully that shows you that we are very interested in getting more Korean students to our campus. The fact that our institutions are willing to make that investment to have us come and meet you in person. And then connecting with alumni, you'll be surprised. A lot of us have alumni in different cities throughout this country, and that's a good way to find out more about the institution. You can come on up, it's fine. And then obviously with these tips that we just gave you, it will help you evaluate your choices and hopefully help you decide where to apply. So thank you.
Okay, thanks, Louis. So with all that said, that was some helpful tips for you to help you to narrow down your different choices. Like Louis mentioned, there's over 4,000 different colleges and universities in the United States. So that's a lot of different choices that you do have. But there are also other resources that we'd like to share with you that can help you narrow down your choices other than the ones that Louis mentioned, which are all excellent resources as well. And so here's some helpful websites we would like to share with you. And I'm going to briefly go over what are on each of these websites and why they might be useful in narrowing down your college search and finding the right college for you. College Prowler, that website actually is really cool. There's ratings and tips from actual students and parents. So you're hearing it from another source, not just admissions counselors, not just your high school counselor or teacher or alumni. You're hearing it from parents and students who have actually attended the school or been on the campus. So it's just a great rating resource. They also do provide information on admissions criteria. So for example, if you are looking at your profile and want to know, what are my chances of getting into this certain school or this particular school, they actually take statistics from people that have been admitted to the school already, and you can kind of input your grades, your test scores, and see if you're likely or not to get accepted. Now, it's word of warning on that one. Each year is different and each school is different, so you still want to contact each school and ask, but it does give you a pretty good idea of what your chances are of getting in, just for the initial kind of stage as you're searching for different colleges and universities. So that's the first one. College Confidential, that one also has a college search feature. You can basically do a search by a lot of the criteria that Louis just spoke about: size, location, athletic facilities, majors, whether or not they have a career center, internships, co-op opportunities. So you can narrow down things that are really important to you and actually input it into this website, and it will help you narrow down and give you some suggestions. So that's very helpful. They also have ratings on campus visits. So I know a lot of Korean students have vacation in the US, and if you have that opportunity to do so, you might want to go and visit some campuses. Well, on this particular website, College Confidential, there's ratings on college campus tours, and so you can kind of find out, what did other students say about this campus tour? Or you can go on the campus tour and see if people picked out the same things that you noticed from the tour as well. So it's a useful resource. College Board, big feature. So College Board are the same people that bring you everyone's favorite test, the SAT. And on that website, they have information on college choice in the process, and they have also a search engine function to narrow down colleges by location, size, and some of the criteria that we spoke about already. College Navigator, that one, it's a federal government website, so it's run by the US government. And again, you can put in your search criteria and narrow down schools, but the really cool thing about this particular website is it leads you to the cost predictor for different institutions. So if you want to know whether you can afford a particular school or what the cost will be for your education at that school over 4 years, this is a great website to visit for that information, because we all know that that's one thing at the forefront of everyone's mind: cost, scholarships, and that is another issue that you want to be searching for when you're choosing a college or university. And the NACAC Student and Parent Resources. So NACAC is a National Association for College Admission Counselors in the United States. And so essentially on this website, again, there's another search tool. It's a reputable professional organization, so you can trust a lot of the information that is there. And there's a lot of very helpful articles, as well as a forum, an online message board where parents, students, and high school counselors exchange a lot of very helpful information in selecting a university. So these are just some helpful resources that we found a lot of students like to use in order to help narrow down the college search. And these are online, so you can do this in your own time, in addition to the other sources that Louis talked about, like your counselor, Education USA, etc. Okay, some other little tips that we have for you. This is a lot of information that you're going to be searching through as you're narrowing down your choices. So just some helpful tips. You might want to make a notebook or a spreadsheet with different universities that you are interested in, and make notes on the things that you find out, pros and cons, what you like or don't like about that particular school. Do they have your major? Can you double major? Do you have several different interests, and can you take all those courses at the school? Yes or no? And it just helps keep you organized, because when you go to a college fair, for example, or you're searching on these databases, you're going to be inundated with so much information, it's going to be hard to remember all of it. And so this is just a quick way so you don't have to redo some of the research you've already done. It's keep you organized. I already mentioned this, but check student reviews on message boards and websites. Just keep in mind some of them might be a bit biased, but it still gives you a good idea. But again, keep it with a grain of salt. Know that, there are people's opinions, and you want to investigate further for yourself as well. This sounds weird. Talk to strangers. Okay, what do I mean by that? Not advocating to talk to weird people, but if you see someone at your school or someone at your parents' work and they're wearing a t-shirt with an American University's name on it, or when your friend's car has a sticker, go and ask them, did you attend that school? What did you think of it? What was your experience? you'll hear about your friends and your parents' experiences, but it's also to go beyond that and talk to others, that you may see around, and just see what their experiences were at those particular institutions. And then we've said this a lot, but ask a lot of questions. Again, we're here. We didn't travel thousands of miles just to talk at you. Basically, any question you may have, we are more than happy to answer those, and that's why we're here, essentially. And I think your counselors, the Fulbright Commission, are all on the same boat with that thought as well. Okay, another big one. We've talked about this, funding and scholarships. So again, this is coming into finding the right fit, affordability, and that type of thing as well. So you want to ask about the scholarships for international students at the universities that you're interested in. So now you've narrowed it down. You have a list of universities that have your major, the location you want, all the different factors you're looking for. Now you're seeing, can you afford it? Do they have scholarships? What else can they offer you? Ask about merit-based scholarships. Those are going to be usually based on your grades, your test scores, things of that nature. There's also activities and athletic scholarships at many universities. So if you have a talent in another area, for example, if you're on the debate team, if you play a musical instrument, or you excel at soccer, for example, there may be additional scholarships available. And then some universities also do offer scholarships based on financial need. So if you have a circumstance where maybe you need a bit extra money to attend a university in the United States, it could be an option at some universities. So you just want to ask each university whether they offer that or not. And then there's also external scholarships. So these are scholarships that are not necessarily offered by a particular university. They're open to students attending almost any university. And they can be based on so many different things. They could be based on nationality, your gender, like there's scholarships for women, for example. They can be based on your major, so there's scholarships for students who are studying journalism or photography or sciences. So there's different areas of that. There's also contest-based scholarships, so writing an essay on a particular topic that you can submit, or a photography contest, or community service. So if you're involved, for example, in missionary work, there might be external scholarships for that, or if you're involved in another type of community organization. So there's so many resources out there. And one thing that I want to say is we work a lot with a lot of these organizations, and a lot of these scholarships actually go unclaimed, which means no one actually applies for them. So there's all this money sitting there, and no one's applying for it. So I would encourage everyone to definitely take the leap, search these scholarships, seek them out, and take advantage of them, because even if you don't necessarily need the additional scholarship, it's really nice to say, hey, I got the scholarship to study in the US for this reason. And it's very nice to see that, put it on your resume, and help you out with your funding. And then one tip, all scholarships, no matter if they're internal or external, so both different types, may require additional documentation. So some schools may require an additional application for scholarships, others don't. Some may require a portfolio, recommendation letters, and those type of things. So you just want to be prepared to, basically submit additional documents depending on the type of scholarship. And then I also want to give you some tips and resources for scholarships. These are external scholarships. I just want to take a step back and mention that, we said already like 5 times, there's, over 4,000 colleges and universities in the United States, and each one is different. There's no centralized system or government body that regulates us. So each one of us will have different scholarship types, different scholarship requirements and procedures. So again, you want to check with every university that you have an interest in what their procedure is. So I just wanted to mention that. But these ones that I've listed here are websites you can search for external scholarships. So these are the ones I just spoke about that are not necessarily affiliated with a particular university. And so these are ones you can search on your own. For example, FastWeb, they have millions and millions of scholarships listed there. You can even search by putting in your major, putting in different criteria that applies to you. And you can also check the scholarships that you're interested in, and you'll get reminders of the due date and things that you still need to submit. So it's very helpful. The College Board, again, favorite people, they could bring us the SAT. They also have a scholarship search available that will, tell you about all different kinds of scholarships. And the International Education Financial Aid is another organization, it's a nonprofit that lists different scholarships. All three of these websites list scholarships available to international students. So these are ones that you can search for you in particular. The other thing I want to mention too is if you're really looking for external scholarships, a lot of most universities have a financial aid or scholarships office on their campus. And so most of us have listings of external scholarships and resources for international students. So don't hesitate as you're going through the application process to ask your admissions officer or the person working at the university for a listing or some assistance with this kind of things. We're more than happy to help with that. Okay, thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Christy.
All right, one thing I wanted to add before we move on from the scholarship section is that there are some websites and some scholarship listings that you might run across that ask you to pay money. So I just wanted to mention that if a scholarship or a company is telling you that you need to pay money and they'll send you eligible scholarships, that you should be really, really careful about that. It's probably not something that you want to do, or you at least want to ask someone at a school or here at the advising office to help you, because that's probably not such a legitimate company. So I just wanted to add that. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about what universities and colleges are looking for, because the first step is you had to find a good fit for you. You had to find the schools that you thought had the best potential for your future. Now that you've narrowed that down maybe to 3 to 5 schools that you want to apply for, then you need to move ahead and figure out how you can make those schools notice you as a student and how you can become an attractive candidate for admission. Because for all of us, we see hundreds, if not thousands, of applicants a year, and it's very hard for us to distinguish who are the best potential applicants for our school. So this is an idea of what we're looking for a little bit. So first of all, you want to humanize your application. You want to make sure that we understand who you are as a person, and who you are as a person is not just a transcript and a test score, right? There's more than that to who you are. So we want to know you as a person, and there's a few ways that we're going to be able to do that. And this is why we ask for things like resumes, letters of reference, essays. This is a way for you to let your personality show. So make sure when you're thinking and designing those to turn in, that you're thinking about how you can bring out what's most important to you, your values and your talents. You want to make sure, especially when we're talking about an essay, that you're very thoughtful. If you go online and find an essay that's been written by someone and think, oh, I can just change the names and the dates, we're going to be able to tell that this is a very generic essay, that this is not something that came from you or really shows who you are. So be imaginative, be creative. We want to know who you are as a person. Also, we want to know about what your goals are for the future. So especially, again, when you're writing any sort of essay, let us know what direction you're headed in. We do want to know what you've done in the past, what you've accomplished, but we want to know where you want to go in the future so we can figure out as a school if we're the right school to help you get there. Sometimes there's a brilliant student, but when I read their essay, I realize that maybe my school isn't the best match for what they really want. And that's really important. We're looking for a match and a good fit just as much as you're looking to fit with us. The happiest situation is when we both find a good fit on both sides. The other thing that we're looking at is getting an idea of how you communicate, your writing skills. To be honest, especially as international students and non-native speakers, we're looking for ways to make sure that your English proficiency is strong enough and that you have the ability to communicate with us. So, any sort of essay or anything you write is going to help us to understand better where you're at with your communication skills. And before I move on from that, I also want to mention that your essay and any of those documents are also a way for you to fill in the blanks. And, I tell students sometimes, they'll say to me, oh, I have my transcript. And my first year of high school, I just did really badly. I did poorly. Something happened in my life, those types of things. So your cover letter or your essay is a way for you to fill in the blanks, to let us know what's happened in your life that's impacted what we're looking at in your transcript, what we're looking at in your academic background. So don't be afraid in those items to be able to express a little information, and that really helps us to understand better, again, who you are and your academic journey. And then again, obviously we are looking for students that fit with us financially. As my other colleagues mentioned, the schools in the U.S. range in different costs, and if we see a student applies to us and does not have the financial ability to be able to come to my school, then it's not a good use of my time nor the student's time to pursue any further. So we try to be very honest with you as a student, and you should be honest with us about what your financial abilities are so we can make sure that there's a good match there. Oh, and of course, very important here at the bottom, is we want to know that you're going to come to our campus and contribute. And I'll be really honest, and I guess I can't speak for all my colleagues, but for me, I would rather have a student that didn't have the highest grades, but was wanting to come and join clubs and get out on campus and make a difference and meet people and be part of my campus. I would rather have that student than the student with the perfect grades who just sits in his room and studies all the time. So we want to know that you actually want to come and be part of our campus. You want to contribute to the campus. And so that's, I think, something else that you need to make sure that you express in your application materials. Okay, and this last part is, we're here today and we travel all around the world reaching out to students to let them know it's very possible for you to come and study in the U.S. If this is your dream, if this is your goal, that this is something that's a real possibility, and it's also such a great step for you in your future. We're big advocates for education in the U.S. and the opportunities there, so we definitely want to let you know that this is something that you can do. First of all, by coming tonight or listening tonight, you're taking the first step, which is learning more about the process, learning more about the potential institutions and what you need to do to fulfill your goals. We keep saying this, and that is also ask questions. There are so many great resources out there. We're going to tonight give our cards to you. We're going to leave our information. So any questions, our job is to help students. So if you have any questions, you can email us. Also, the Fulbright Center here is a great resource, and this is a fantastic way for you to be able to have people who are experts on U.S. education, who can give you an unbiased view on your options. So utilize these resources. And then the last part is, again, we want to make sure to remind you, don't just go to the school that your buddy is going to or the school that you saw on the TV or that has some sort of reputation or ranking. You really need to find the perfect school that fits you, because that is when you're going to be the happiest, and when you're happy, you're going to be successful, and then you're going to be able to pursue your dreams and be able to come back and make a difference in your community here. So we definitely want to provide you the chance to ask some questions tonight that will help you to figure out, again, if our schools are a good fit and if there's anything that you're wondering about the education process. So should we open it up now to any questions about anything we've talked about thus far? Does anybody have a question about the application process, about the finding a school? Yes, please.
I think you probably know that the academic year in Korea starts in March and ends in February.
Right.
So if a student applies in, let's say, 12th grade, then he or she will have to wait for 6 months, right? So would you consider application from 11th grade students?
I can't speak for everybody, but we would not. A student would have to have what's equivalent to a high school diploma. So we would just ask them to then kind of, during that gap time, you know, try to do something productive to prepare themselves for college. You want to add?
Yeah.
Please add.
I was going to say too that you might want to look into, some universities do have summer start, so a student may actually, well, I mean, spring might be too late because it's March, but you know, you could look into, if some have quarter system, they might have a later start, you know, March, April, and then some schools do have summer start May, June, July, so it's a couple months early, so that could be another option.
Great question.
Other questions? It's a quiet group tonight. Oh, okay. Here, this looks like an eager student back here.
You said we get a lot of questions about what they can do in the gap. Can you talk about what could be productive things to do in that gap?
Okay. Does anyone want to have any particular? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, during that gap period, especially during the summer, one of the things, at least for my institution, that we have available is something called Summer Academy. We have other summer programs that happen during that gap time. So, you know, I would highly suggest looking for a school, looking if that school has something similar to a summer program or something during that time that could prepare you academically, right? Because during that time you want to, say, either brush up on your English, brush up on some other subjects, maybe take a couple of other courses that could take the place of basic classes like basic math or English. So yeah, academically, you can try to prepare yourself during that time by looking for summer classes, summer programs. Yeah, if anyone else has any other things too.
I like to see students who explore, you know, the things they're interested in right after graduation. So a couple I've seen would be, you know, cultural exploration. So they travel to another country, kind of immerse themselves. I've seen some students, you know, go to, one student right now actually is in, I'll be meeting, is in Thailand, who just graduated from high school, and he's working as a volunteer at a high school, just to kind of get the culture and explore things. I've had students do service, so I've seen students take a gap year. One student I was working with, and actually coincidentally met in Cambodia, was from Singapore, and she took a year off just to do 6 months of service with children in Cambodia, and then she spent the other remaining months home, involved in other activities as well. I believe it was something involved with like media. So yeah, I mean, we want to see students that, you know, if you're interested in taking a gap year, students that have like a, you know, pretty well thought out plan, but sometimes, you know, some students will just kind of be spontaneous. But as long as we feel that, you know, as long as the students feel that they're being productive and getting something out of it, and, you know, kind of just enhancing their lives, and can translate that on the application, we like to see that.
Other questions? Yes.
Yes, yeah, they have a diploma in the February in Korea if they finish their 12th grade, and then so they got the admission, and they will go to the U.S. school in September or August. Then someone was asking whether they can take the AP exam during May, and then the school, U.S. University, do they take the credit for AP classes?
Yes, the question was that we're talking again about the gap year, or the gap time that students might have between graduating high school and starting in the U.S. And I believe the question is, would the students be able to take an AP exam during that time and be able to get college credit for if they were successful in that?
I just wonder the U.S. University give the credit
Yeah, I mean, if a student is able to successfully pass the AP exam and they submit it to us as from an official source, we will give credit for those, and that would certainly be a great way for students to be able to move ahead and earn some credit before they came to the campus.
I just think that AP classic can save some time and money.
Yes, definitely.
Kind of
Just to kind of explain to anybody, AP is an advanced placement program. If students take exams, and each school has kind of a different policy of what they need a student needs to score, but if they score a certain score in different subjects, they can get college credit, up to a year of college credit for the different courses. So some students doing AP can come in and be able to earn a semester or a year's worth of credit, which then decreases the time that they then have to finish, they'll have in finishing up their degree. So it's a great time and financial savings. Thank you. Other questions?
May I ask?
Please, yes.
Okay. As a parent, I'm very interested in scholarship. Okay, so you gave very useful information today, and I also understand that I need to collect detailed information from individual university website. But do you have any general tips for getting scholarship as an international student?
Please.
If you're looking for scholarship, I mean, they repeated that there's institutional scholarship that comes from the institution, usually from merit scholarship comes from the admissions office. If the student's a dual citizen, I encourage them to apply for federal financial aid. But what I've seen some students do, they're very resourceful. They look at they look for scholarship not within the academic institution, but rather things like Rotary scholarships. There's a student who graduated from LMU. She's going to Cambridge, and she applied for a Rotary scholarship, and she got it. So, I mean, it didn't come from LMU, it didn't come from Cambridge. It came from actually Rotary scholarship in Los Angeles that she had heard about. So it's always good to do your research. The money's out, like our financially people always like to say the money's out there. It's really just your initiative to look for it. And if you go to a lot of financial aid websites for institutions, some of them will have search engines, some of them will have listings of particular scholarships that a lot of students will apply to. And as my colleagues mentioned, some will be very specific, some will be restricted only to US citizens, some won't be. And some are for various amounts, only a couple $100. Some will be for a couple $1,000s. But I've seen students who've gotten merit scholarship, even though it's a certain amount of merit scholarship, but then supplemented with other scholarships they found elsewhere. So I mean, what I'm trying to leave you with is don't just rely on what the institution can provide for you, but what you can utilize from other places as well.
I think just quickly to add to that, also being very savvy as you're looking at the different schools and their costs. I mean, you're going to be able to go online and see schools, they give their budget of how much everything is, not just tuition, but beyond that. So looking at the big picture. And then, some schools will talk about big scholarships that they give, but yet if you look, their tuition is very, very high. So if they give a $15,000 scholarship, but their tuition is $40,000, you're still paying more than other schools. So comparing that, also to add on to what Dwayne said, some schools offer on-campus jobs. So although this is not a way to make a significant amount of money, it is a way for a student to be able to supplement their costs. And you can do a little research into the cost of living in different parts of the U.S. And that's kind of the X factor there, is different parts of the U.S., it's very easy to figure out where the cost of living is very high and other parts that are low, and considering that in choices too.
Yeah, and actually just one other thing. So within the institution, there also can be different programs. So Christy just reminded me, for example, our school has a student worker program, and I think other similar institutions might have that. So it's nice to inquire, and if you're not sure, ask the admissions officer. I mean, we are, as my colleagues have mentioned, we're advocates, but we're also sources for information beyond what you can find in the websites, beyond what you can find from asking other people, because we've been doing this for a while and we know those kinds of questions, and so we know those kinds of answers that we can help you with. For example, student worker program, it's a very selective program at our school. Only 10 students get it, 20 students get it, 10 males, 10 females. You have to go through a selection process, but it's also open to international students. So for example, one of our international students got it, and you're basically working more hours on campus, and you're allowed to, since you're an international student, within the certain legal limits, but they get paid a higher rate, and it helps pay a big chunk of their education.
Other questions?
With my background in testing, I must ask you this question about many of my, I'm an agent, newsenglish.org, and many of my clients ask me about testing requirements. And they usually feel, especially the students, they feel intimidated by these test score requirements. So how many of you or how many of your schools allow conditional admissions with respect to test requirements?
Well, maybe this would be a good time. We did want to do a quick introduction of each of our schools and give you some more details. Maybe we can go through and each one kind of give you a 2-minute overview of our school. We can also then talk a little bit about our test requirements and mention any scholarships, and then we can continue with questions. So, start?
You want me to start?
Sure, yeah.
All right. Okay, again, my name is Louis Cardenas, and I'm representing Metropolitan College of New York in Manhattan. And our school, it's a school of about 1,200 students. We have about 75 international students from over 40 different countries. And we are a very specialized institution. So being a small school, we really specialize in a couple academic areas at the undergraduate level and at the graduate level, those being business, BBAs, MBAs, MPA, and we're one of the few schools that has an emergency and disaster management graduate degree program, and we also have now a bachelor's degree in emergency and disaster management. Liberal arts is another popular major at our institution, and we are an urban campus, so we're a little bit unique in the sense that we are located in Soho, Tribeca area. So our campus is a huge working New York City building with multiple businesses inside, including our institution. Our students do a lot of internship opportunities outside of campus, within the city, at banks, different businesses, nonprofit, non-governmental organizations throughout New York City. And in terms of our testing requirements, we're a little bit more flexible. We will take either TOEFL, IELTS, ACT, or SAT, or if students are in one of our approved language school partners, we would consider them as well. So for us, we just need one of the following exams, and of course we all have minimum scores in each of those. So it does provide students a little bit of flexibility in terms of they don't have to take 4 tests in order to get in. They can choose one of the those options, and obviously everything else that most of our institutions will require, the traditional application requirements. But that's in terms of our testing. And at the graduate level, they're obviously GRE, GMAT, they can do that. They could also do TOEFL or IELTS, or our language partner schools for our business and our MPA programs. And we do offer scholarships at both the undergraduate and graduate level.
So you do not require both?
We don't, no.
SAT and a TOEFL?
No, we do not.
Oh.
Nope.
Okay, I'll go next. Hi again, my name is Jennifer Brooke. I'm representing Hawaii Pacific University in beautiful Honolulu, Hawaii. As you know, Hawaii is a little bit off the beaten path when concerning U.S. institutions, but what we're looking for are more adventurous students who want to be leaders, and who are really interested in international education, both inside and outside the classroom, through our research opportunities, through our internship programs, and we have over 300 different study abroad and exchange programs as well. We are a very international campus. We were named as one of the most diverse university campuses in the United States. We have students from more than 100 different countries in all 50 U.S. states. So it's basically, in the classrooms, 15 to 20 students per class, students from all around the world. All classes are taught by full professors, no teaching assistants. So it's kind of what our school looks like. Some of our popular majors are marine science, environmental science, hotel and hospitality management, international business, international studies, and our TESOL program is also very popular with international students. In terms of the testing question, it depends on the program, but we do offer conditional admission, especially without the TOEFL or IELTS. And we will, offer conditional admission, and the student can produce that later or do it through one of our partners, like ELS is one of our partners. So if a student completes level 112 of the ELS program, they can be fully admitted without TOEFL or IELTS. SAT is optional for us, and it's because we do holistic admission. We look at everything. So we look at not only grades and test scores, but we look at very strongly at recommendation letters, personal statements, and things of that nature. So that's the reason why we have an option, but it is required for our honors program. So if you are interested in that program, it is required. We do offer scholarships as well. Basically, merit scholarships, the top one is about 75% of our tuition rate, and currently our tuition is $19,900 per year, so it's quite affordable. And then we offer additional scholarships for things like athletics, music, dance, debate, and other extracurricular activities that can be combined up to full tuition. But for more information on our admission requirements for particular programs, you can visit www.hpu.edu/international. Thank you.
Hi again. My name is Mickey. As I mentioned earlier, I'm representing Calvin College. Calvin College is located 15 minutes away from downtown Grand Rapids, which is in Michigan. Just as a very brief overview and summary of what Calvin's profile looks like, we're a Christian liberal arts university of over 4,000 students, and out of those 4,000 students, 12% are internationals. That makes us the 5th largest international student body population carrier in the United States. So one of the things you can look forward to, should you decide that Calvin's a good fit for you, is a good, strong, welcoming international community. And the good thing about that too is that allows you, Calvin's location close to Grand Rapids allows us to give a lot of internships. So about 80% of our student body graduates with at least one internship. What that means practically speaking is employers look for that. They're looking for experience. And that means that over 98% of our graduates find at least a job or are in graduate school within 6 months of graduating from Calvin. So in terms of prospects and value for money, that's pretty good. And for us, not only does our international student body matter a lot to us, we're trying to make sure that even, regardless of who you are, international or North American, we want you to experience international things. So we're ranked number 2 in the country in undergraduate institutions for study abroad programs. We have study abroad programs all over the world, from Europe to Asia to Latin and South America. So yeah, those are one of the big draws. That's one of the big draws for students at Calvin. In terms of testing, you can either take the SAT or you can take the TOEFL. Our minimum TOEFL requirement is 80. And in terms of if you're at an international institution, like an international school for 4 years, where the primary language of instruction is English, we typically don't require a TOEFL, right? We'll take a look at that and we'll go, okay, that student has that capability, has that language, English language proficiency. And in terms of financial aid, we're 90% of our student body receive financial aid, and the average package is $17,500. Our total cost, so that's tuition, room and board, books, miscellaneous expenditures, is $38,000 a year. So yeah, that's one of the things. And of course, there are scholarships available too, apart from grants and loans if, say, you're a United States citizen living abroad. But if you're an international student or you're a missionary kid, there are options for that too. So again, for more specific information, just talk to me afterwards, or you can certainly contact us or visit our website at calvin.edu/international. Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, so the University of Northern Iowa is a public university in the state of Iowa, and we're really a medium-sized institution, which I think is one of the reasons that students really love to attend the university. In the U.S., there's schools that are very small and ones that are very big, but we're kind of a medium size, so we have the feel of a big public school, but yet more of the experience of a smaller institution. So that means that students are going to have small classes. Our average class size is 19 students. They're going to have their full-time professors. They're not going to have graduate assistants teaching their classes. And there's going to be a lot of support and personalized attention and opportunities for students to get involved in the campus. We have a beautiful park-like campus with 65 buildings. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes to walk through campus. So it's just the type of place that's the quintessential U.S. Campus experience with trees and flowers and little squirrels and that type of thing that you see in the movies. And we were also found to be, there was a study done that shows that we were one of the 50 safest campuses in the nation. They looked at crime statistics, and we were one of the safest places to attend. As far as academic programs, we're very well known for our College of Business. Our accounting students typically score in the top 10 in the nation in the CPA exam. So most of the big accounting firms are on our campus recruiting our students even before they graduate. And then other business programs. We're also known for our College of Education, teacher education, TESOL. Some of our hard sciences like biology and chemistry are also in the top 10. As far as entrance, we do require students to meet a minimum TOEFL score, but they can be conditionally admitted if they have a lower score. So we would have the option of them coming to campus, enrolling in intensive English coursework, and then moving in gradually into academics. We also do not require SAT. It's optional. Students can submit the SAT instead of the TOEFL, although some of our scholarships are based on SAT. So if students want to get a high merit scholarship, they will need to take the SAT. And that moves into our scholarship policy, which is there's an International Student Scholar Award that's specifically for international students. This scholarship does not require SAT. We look at grades, we look at involvement in their school, leadership, those types of things. But the other scholarships we have are merit and look at other factors, including the SAT.
Hi. Hi everyone, my name is Dwayne Zamora. I'm the International Admission Counselor for Loyola Marymount University. We're a private liberal arts and sciences university, Catholic university founded in Jesuit Marymount tradition, located in Los Angeles, California. We are considered a medium-sized university as well. We have about 6,000 undergraduate students and 3,000 students who are in the master's and law school programs. I like to say that we have a pretty well-rounded school in general in terms of size, great academic setting, great environmental setting. We're located on top of a hill that overlooks the rest of Los Angeles. When I say the rest of Los Angeles, I mean that we are part of Los Angeles. We're located in a residential neighborhood of Westchester. We're 4 miles away from the airport, so it's very convenient for international students or students who live out of state. We're also 2 miles away from the ocean, so the Pacific Ocean, so we're close to the beach as well. So we have a great balance of weather. If you're looking for a beautiful campus, we're ranked top 10 every year on various lists for having one of those beautiful campuses in the nation. So, wonderful environmental setting with a great Pacific Ocean breeze and LA sun. Then, it's a good choice. Our student-teacher ratio is about 11 to 1. Our average class size is 21. We have one of the best four-year graduation rates for universities and colleges in California, so that's something to consider as well if you're looking for, in graduating on time or traditionally in the four-year space. Our most popular majors within the College of Liberal Arts, we have 5 colleges, schools and colleges for the undergraduate. Within College of Liberal Arts, it would be economics, some English, psychology, political science. Within our College of Business Administration, it would be entrepreneurship is one of our flagship programs. We're actually one of the first schools to offer entrepreneurship as a major. Accounting has some great opportunities for internships and job matriculation. Marketing, we have some really great industry connections in Los Angeles among advertising agencies, marketing agencies as well. Within the College of Communication and Fine Arts, we have some great dance and music programs. Communication Studies is one of the most popular programs within that college. Within the College of Science and Engineering, biology, health and human sciences are great. We're not a research university, but we do offer research opportunities, especially on the undergraduate level. We are on to completing our life sciences building in 2015, which is going to be budgeted at $75 million. So it's going to have some state-of-the-art classroom space, lab space for biology, chemistry, biochemistry. It's going to be great. Also, engineering is very well regarded. We are in the city of Los Angeles, so we do have a lot of industries for engineering, as well as being close to the airport. Aerospace is something that students have gone on to work at places like Raytheon, Aerospace Corporation, Boeing, etc. And in terms of the School of Film and Television, being in Los Angeles, we are very well known for our School of Film and TV production. Hollywood Reporter ranked us as the top 8, number 8 for best film schools in the U.S. And we also have recently gotten some rankings for our animation programs as well. And in terms of international size, we're about 6% international, but we have about 75 different nationalities. We like that sort of distribution. We have great international student support. Being in Los Angeles, there's a lot to do for students on campus and off campus. And going to the financial, we do offer merit scholarship. We are also a Division I school, so if there are any student athletes, we do offer athletic scholarship. We offer merit scholarship based on academics and test scores. And when I say academics and test scores, I mean your grades and your SAT or ACT scores. We do look at, we do require the SAT and ACT. However, the TOEFL is something that helps sort of like balance the critical reading and writing scores for students. They're a better approximation of English proficiency than the SAT, we feel. So we use that as a factor in terms of admissibility, but also as well as advocating for scholarship for these kinds of students who are not, whose English for English is not being their first language. We also offer leadership scholarships too that are not based on academics, but rather the qualitative factors of student leaders. I think, yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say. Thanks.
Are there any questions either about the presentation or about any thing that we've covered in our institutional talks? Okay, well, yes.
Usually, the word of mouth is very strong in Korea. I understand that because someone was explaining about the search engines, 4 or 5 of them. We've been there, and when you look for the chemistry, in case chemistry major and looking for some schools, then they have a 300, 400, or 7 over 1,000. Then how can you narrow down the number? You can now read all the websites.
Right.
Do you want to? Any
You have to go beyond just a major. So you have to pick, I would suggest picking maybe 5 or 6 factors that are most important to you. So in the initial part of the presentation, Lewis listed about 12 to 15 different factors that are most important to, a number of students, but there could be others as well. Like, for example, one of the things that wasn't necessarily listed there was religious affiliation, public versus private, things like that. So I think if a student chooses 5 or 6 factors that are just very important to them, that are a must-have for their experience, so major, location, weather, religious affiliation or not, etc. I think once you start getting beyond 1 or 2 things, it narrows it down a lot more, quite significantly. The other thing is, it's not just a search engine, that's just a tool to help you initially, but the other resources like coming to speak with your Education USA advisors, counselors, your colleagues, alumni, your parents, family members, friends. That also helps narrow down different options as well. So I think students have to use a variety of different sources. I think the search engines aren't an be-all, end-all, but it is a way to maybe discover other universities that maybe a student hasn't necessarily heard of before that might be attractive, might be a good fit. But also I think further investigation is warranted as well. So asking people about that university, doing other research, going on their website, asking questions to the advisor. So that's another tip, but also, going beyond major and picking, 5-6 factors that are absolutely important to the student.
So just to answer your question, you also have to realize that your son or daughter would be at a school, predictably for 4 years. So that's 4 years of their life. They can't just study chemistry. So it's really nice to get that sort of fit where they have that program, but also environmentally they can succeed. They have great opportunity, access, and things like that. So. I would probably say that prestige is a very subjective term because it can be, I think, defined by many things, but I think fit is a better term in terms of what you should be looking for. And as Jennifer said, use the resources around you. The internet, those searches, can be very, when I was looking for graduate schools, those can be very, very, daunting because they pop up so many different lists, and search engines can be very devious too because a lot of schools pay search engine optimization just to put their names on on that first page. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they're the schools that you should be looking for. I would probably say utilize resources like the Education USA office. They do have good connections. They do a lot of this higher education. Education USA, what we do, it's a very people-oriented business. It's a network-oriented business, so we communicate a lot. We go to conferences and things like that. We share information. So we know a lot of things that that we want to disseminate to you. So if you're looking for a good school for chemistry and things like that, start at the ground. Start here. And the Education USA office can refer you to maybe some various schools. To various college counselors. You can talk to them about particular program, and then you can talk to them about those other factors like location, size, things like that. And if they don't have that sort of the thing you're looking for, a lot of us, honestly, and I think I can speak for all of us, are happy to recommend other places to you, because the thing I think I'm very optimistic about international admissions is we want not just our first priority would be to have your student come to our school, but we want them to have that right fit. So regardless of if it's not the right fit, we want them to go somewhere. We want them to go to the U.S. for a good higher education. So that's our conviction, that's our commitment, first and foremost.
When you say fit,
Yes.
yeah, I don't know what you mean exactly, but if you want to whether the school is fit for you or the school is good fit for me, then I have to read through the website of your schools, and it takes a lot of time. It's all in English.
Right.
Sometimes it's impossible for parents.
Yeah.
Actually, the parents decide which school they kind of thing.
That's true. That's true.
And that's education. They like you. We just give information or advice
Right.
how to find it, but we don't recommend any schools or something.
Well, as I mentioned before, it's networking. So if you utilize those resources and say, for example, let's go start from zero. You talk to Vinny from Education USA looking for a chemistry program. Then he recommends you to my school, for example. You look at our website, you're not sure how everything goes, but he recommends you to talk to me. And we communicate. If I can't give you what you need in terms of a perspective, I can always reach out to our alumni base in Korea and refer you to a parent of a current student or a parent of a previous student. They might not They might not be a parent of a chemistry student, but they're going to be a parent of a student who goes to LMU, so they can tell you about those kinds of things.
Then can the applicants ask you to connect with another?
Oh yeah, absolutely,
students,
absolutely,
or
absolutely.
you connect them?
We do it all the time. We do it all the time.
Okay.
Mhm.
And one more question.
Mm.
Usually Korean students, they ask a lot, and they send.
They what?
They ask a lot of things.
Okay.
And they usually email in case of a generic office email, they hardly get the reply. Is there any efficient way to contact?
Yeah, a lot of schools will have college representatives like us. And I mean, let me just clarify one thing. A lot of schools might use agents to recruit in, various countries, or just maybe they'll send a representative from a school who's simply a recruiter. But a lot of us are also college counselors who not just recruit, we are also the advocates for the students, which mean that we are the personal contact. So if you're looking for a school, say, that's not one of us, contact the admissions office and don't ask them all these questions, but rather ask them who is the one person I can talk to. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, just to add to that as well, just a good tip, and this is kind of going off what Dwayne was saying, a lot of us actually do read the applications and read the files and offer the admission, extend the offer of admission, and sometimes even scholarship. So we are the perfect point of contact to ask all those type of questions, and we're used to getting many, many emails from students, not just Korean students, but students from many other countries. So that's what we're here for, to answer the questions, to make sure that students understand the process. So, I mean, that's what we're here for. That's part of our job, and that's what we love to do. So no questions too small, definitely.
I know from your schools, we can email you, but the other schools, they usually get the admission at edu, and then in that case, they don't get the reply there.
Well-
Is there any efficient way to get?
I mean, I think first of all, one thing to think about is that every school should, if they care about international students, have a system where those emails, even if it comes into a general account, gets funneled to someone who's going to help those students. So I would start to question that school if a student's not getting a response back from the very beginning as a prospective student. I would say that's a red flag as far as how they're going to be treated even when they enroll as a student. We all have a system that makes sure that we answer as much as we can. I'm sure there's kids that fall through the crack, but we answer every student's email that comes into the university as quickly and as efficiently as we can. So, I mean, that's one thing. I know it's not answering your question, but I think that students should think twice if they're not getting response back from the university. Yeah, it is. I mean, because they're showing their commitment to helping international students. But did you want to add something about?
No, you said it. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's like schools. I mean, I'll give you a good example. Just I like to use very perfect examples. If I get an email in our general admissions box from someone who wants to talk to the person who recruits in San Francisco, I will, it's my duty and responsibility to forward it to the proper counselor. And a lot of schools are very built like that. In the internet, and I get a lot of emails forwarded from the general admissions box to my mailbox, and that's how they should function. I mean, the first question you should be asking if you're not, if you're looking for a person to talk to, is not how do I apply? Not all these things. The first question you should ask is, who can I talk to? I'm from Korea. I'm from this part of the world. Who is the person I can be talking to?
Again, as an agent, I get sometimes inquiries from clients who ask about postgraduate programs so that they can enroll in those career-oriented postgraduate programs so that they can later apply to more serious professional schools such as law school or veterinary school. So do you have these 1 year or 2 semester programs into which Korean students or Chinese students can apply after they have had their undergraduate degrees here in their home countries, and then they apply to these postgraduate programs, and then look forward to going on to greener pastures of professional schools?
Yeah, I mean, when you ask a kind of question like that, the one thing I think we should have said in the beginning of this presentation is that the most common thing about all of the 4,000 plus colleges and universities in the United States is that we're all different. So asking that question to every single one of us, you're going to get a completely different answer. I mean, we have a post-bac program for medicine, for example. So if you were like a business major and you wanted to say get into medical school, you could do a post-bac. My other colleagues might not have that program. So it really depends, but that's where you kind of have to start, is finding out who to talk to and then asking those kinds of questions. Okay.
Right.
Good question. I had a student who was asking, he didn't do good in the high school and low GPA in high school, but he won some scholarship and he decided to take a SAT to get a high school. Then he was wondering whether the low high school GPA affects
It's going to
with the
Yeah.
high SAT score.
Yeah, that's going to depend on the institution. You know, we do understand that high school is tough and you might have a rough patch. I usually recommend that students just write a small paragraph explaining why their grades were low. It was a medical condition, death in the family, things like that will help justify why there was such a, why they had low grades. Also, our recommendation letters do help. The counselor might already alert us to that or might explain why that student had the lower grades. If they do have higher, high SAT scores, then obviously that will help vouch that lower grade. But, we always want to question students, is this going to be a student who comes to school and doesn't go to class and just goes and shows up for the exam, passes it? The one thing about the U.S. is it's not like other countries where you can just go and take the exam and not go to class and still pass. In the U.S., things like participation, attendance, those all factor in to your grade. So, I would probably have a Skype interview with that student and I would question them as to why they did have the lower GPA. And hopefully they would have a good answer for it. But I wouldn't say that, the student's not going to be able to hopefully find a school for them. Yeah. Great question, though. Those are all of you had some really good questions. All right, well, we'll just be here for just a couple more minutes if you want to come and chat with us personally, and we will hand out materials if you didn't get some earlier. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.